She will talk about the Generation Z and its engagement with environmental sustainability in relation with economic issues. In this research, Giovanna focuses on young Italians aged between 13 and 18 years old. And let me tell you something about Giovanna Palladino. So Giovanna, PhD in economics, she is the head, the head of the technical secretariat of the presidency of Intesa San Paolo, the largest Italian bank. She's also the director of and the curator of the Museum of Saving and an educational lab located in Turin. Over the last 2 years, she has worked on and published researches related to financial education. Her most recent research interest is directed on the impact of digitalization and financial literacy on saving and investment behaviors. So Giovanna, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot. I talk from here because I want to stand up. I learned from Christoph Levy. It's much better to stand up and present. And thanks for the invitation to present this paper. This paper is co-authored with Luciano Canova, which is a researcher of the Scuola Mattei, and this, we did it some months ago, so it's still under review. This is our research question. You want the microphone? Okay. This is our research question. It's not an easy question, and it's not obvious, because we really wanted to understand how does the Generation Z perceive the link between issues of economic and environmental sustainability. So we wanted to understand if there was a link and they perceive it, okay? This is one of the few studies on youngsters in Italy between 13 and 8 years old, because they are minors. Usually they are not covered by any kind of survey. We got a sample that is significant from the university point of view, and is a representative of the Italian population of that age, both in terms of age, gender, and geographical distribution. We wrote 44 questions. The questionnaire was distributed in February, at the beginning of February 2021, and the questions span from personality traits to financial and environmental habits, and also there was a section on the relation of kids with their parents. We wanted to know what was the relation, if the parents were a good role model or not. Why we wanted to look at this specific topic, because it's not obvious. Because sustainability education is increasingly at the center of the policymaker agenda, and the climate change over the last couple of years, 3 or 4 years, has gained attention, public attention, with the Fridays for Future, Greta Thunberg, especially among youngster people. And also we have, and I think there is an agreement on the 360 vision of sustainability. I would like to call it twin sustainability, because man and the environment have a non-sustainable interaction if we don't think also about the rational management of economic resources. There must be something in common. And we try also to investigate, as I said, the segment of population which is not normally included in the survey, and so that to understand how they fit about the two issues, as the mission of the Museum of Saving is financial education, but more and more financial education is linked to sustainability issues. So we wanted to know what we can do, how they feel, and how we can exploit what they have as a driver for their interest in this topic. Okay? Our aim is then to identify any spillover, if any, between the two dimensions, economic and environmental sustainability, to understand how personality affects this kind of sensitivity, and if there is a gender difference. Unfortunately, there is not, Christoph. This time I couldn't find it, and I know why. A gender difference in personality traits and in sustainability awareness. And then also we want to understand if there was something that we can gain in terms of effectiveness of educational intervention, so that we can exploit the overlap between the two sensitivity, between the two dimensions. So we can teach financial education and at the same time increase the level of sensitivity for environment. The literature is not really, very helpful on this very topic, and there is nothing. There is something about the Gen Z and their consumption behavior, so it's quite interesting, but it's not on the topic that we are addressing our attention. There is something on the role of sustainability in education, it is a little bit more interesting. There is a very interesting paper by Mamber Moser that is on personality traits and environmental sustainability, and also a paper by List that using OECD PISA data find a link between scientific skill and awareness on sustainability. The only study that has something that put together economic and environmental sustainability is this one by White et al. But it's a very poor study. It's a case study with a few data and poorly written. So I would say that this is not really a benchmark for us, but it's the only one, so we had to mention it. What we use as a base is a survey, so we had to ask a professional in money's research agency to do it. The survey on this topic, we had to start from scratch, because actually there is only one example, this European Social Service of 2018, that has some question about the global warming. So, and there were some questions about the personality trait. So we took the question wherever they were available, and then we added some other question according to what was the interested that we had. That was the question I just mentioned before. The sample allowed us, the sample service allowed us to collect the social demographic data and information on a sample of 400 adolescents. They are not a small sample, I tell you, because these are minors. So to get 400 reply to the questionnaire is not easy, especially if they have to be representative of the Italian population. So we checked, and actually we are among the highest number for this kind of service. So usually the service done in this way have even a lower level of respondents. What really is reassuring is that the degree of coherence between answers highlights the ability of the individual to provide a sensible and a reasonable feedback. So we are reassured about the quality of the survey. And minors were answering in an autonomous way. So parents and relatives were not allowed to help them in the answer. Actually, this has been done using the CAWI technique. So the CAWI technique is the computer-assisted interview on the web. The sample is this one. I will not get into too much today because there is not too much time, but as for the division between male and female, it's a representative of the population of male and female of that age. There's a little preponderance of male with respect to female, but we also ask about topic, and here we have some stereotype that is going to enter, because actually we have that the female answer that their favorite topic is something related to humanistic issues, while male instead prefer scientific topic, very typical of the Italian situation, where the female that study STEM are almost a very small percentage. As for the domestic environment, we didn't ask question about money, okay? So we don't know what is the economic background of the family, but we know if the family, the parents have a bachelor degree or whatever is the educational degree, and we know something else that for us is very important in terms of culture, it is how many books they have at home. So we have this kind of information. As for the educational degree, that represents the Italian situation, around 20%. This is the percentage of the population. Here is 18.7, a little bit more the mother than have a bachelor degree than the father. This is typical in Italy. A female have a higher level of degree than male usually. As for the books, the highest percentage is between 26 and 100. Only few home have more than 500 books. Only 5% of the respondents. Here is the personality traits. These are the result of the first section of the 44 questions. Actually, we asked 17 questions on the personality traits. Here you'll find 15, because then we, let's say, sum up this personality trait using the cluster analysis. And we can cluster these 40 kids in 3 clusters. The first one is the troubled. I mean, they are the restless, the ones that are full of anger, mainly. So they are answering to the first question, where the answer is a score between 0 and 10, saying that they are angry, they think they are a failure, and so on and so forth. The second cluster is the curious. The curious are the one instead that they like to learn new lessons. They are social in the sense that they want to know more about the others. They get along very easily with everybody, even with someone that doesn't share the same idea. So we consider them the curious. And the last one are the diligent. The diligent are instead the one that take to an end whatever they start. They are scrupulous and attentive when they do their homework. They put things in order. They're the first in class. I mean, I always say very precisi in Italian. And what is most important, they, however, trust people. They have the highest level of confidence in people. Why? Because probably they think the other are like themselves. I mean, they trust others because they are very precise, very, they can receive trust from the others, so they give trust to others as well. Here, as for the distribution among the classes, I mean, you have the troubled one are the ones that are more numerous, but we can find that the male are overrepresented among the curious, while female are more represented among the diligent. The second question, the second set of questions in the questionnaire was about sustainability, green sustainability, and they were there because we wanted to have an idea of their feeling about environmental sustainability. So we had 5 questions. We compacted the 5 questions using an index, the PCA analysis, so to get the weighted weights that we can use to have a weighted average of single answer. And the question were about how much do you think that your daily attitude can make the difference to reduce the global warming? How much do you feel personally committed to reduce the problem of waste of natural resources? How severe do you believe the impact of lack of attention to sustainability themes by adults will be? And also the last one about government action. How likely do you believe that governments might act to change the world development model so it becomes more sustainable over time? They can answer using a score between 0 and 10, and these are the descriptive of whatever they answer. And we reduce the 5 answers using this technique of the principal component. So we have a weighted averagement. For the money index, the third section of the questionnaire provided 6 questions. The 6 questions were related to the control of the use of money. Okay, were mainly related to the use of money. The first one was I keep my expenses under control, and if not necessary, I avoid buying stuff that I don't need. The 6th question is my money is used only exclusively for my happiness, and I don't care about the impact on others. Okay, so they do give a score between 0 and 10. The 7th question is if you want something you like, you cannot afford immediately, how much satisfaction do you feel in being able to buy it when you reach the needed amount? So this is about postponing the consumption and being able to buy whatever you need later on. The other 2 questions are more related to the status, okay, whatever they have. You have money, you usually have money at your disposal. You have an allowances. So yes, monthly means that they have an allowances. As you can see, allowances in Italy are not so common because only 25% of the sample says that they have monthly allowances. Most of the sample is on occasional, they get money on occasional basis, and 32% of samples they say that they have no money at their disposal. About the thing, there's 9 question is if you have money at disposal, do you have the habit of thinking how to use it? 85% response, in a very scrupulous way. They say yes, I think about it. And the last question, the 10th one, is why do you save money? This is a very important question because usually others will choose the leftover option, while they say, I save money. 77% of the sample say, I save money because I have a project. So there is a sort of idea of how to use money and why you save it. Normally, others in Italy, when we do the same question, they say, it's a leftover. I mean, I didn't use it, okay? So I didn't consume and I saved. So after having these indexes that are weighted average, okay, using the weights of the PCA, we also try to understand how the distribution of quartile, because for sure there is a correlation. We found a correlation. The average correlation between the two indexes that were composed by different questions is 41%, a lot, okay? And if we see the correlation across quartile, we see that the fourth quartile, the correlation is much higher, 48.5%, as well as in the first quartile. So the bottom and the upper quartile are very much correlated. So there must be something wrong. So with respect to our question at the very beginning, if these two kinds of sensitivity are going to be related, I would say it seems so. But we are now going a little bit deeper on that. And we are trying to understand what explains awareness, what explains the green index, because green index and money index are latent variable for awareness, for mainly. So we have here some equation. I cannot go into the details. This is one of the several equation specification we used. We used a specification with and without green index, with and without the we call cross awareness, okay? I will say that, for example, in the first specification about money index, when we take out green index, which is correlated, by the way, the R2 goes to 0.27. And when we take out the money index from the green index equation, the R square goes to 0.33. So there is a significant effect of the variable that I will describe. For sure, there is also a significant effect of the cross awareness. So I have explained the table before. I mean, economic awareness, which is represented by our money index, is influenced by external contextual factors that are connected to family, to school, to the use of social media and personality, and we will go into it in a short while. While the other equation, the equation for the green index, is not explained by this contextual factor. It's explained mainly and only by personality traits. Personality traits are what explain the green index. As a matter of fact, I didn't show you before, but this is the case, you see sex doesn't make any difference. And why? Because gender here is not playing a difference, because we have personality traits. Personality traits are common to both to male and female, as we will see. Actually, we also ran the equation for male and for female. There were some differences, but mainly on self-esteem. When we ran this equation only for the female sample, the self-esteem was playing a role, so not a positive one. So I said already, this one, okay. After we added this linear regression, we did some linear regression and then we move to ordered probability. So we define the endogenous variable and we separate the endogenous variable across the quartiles. Okay. What I represent here are the margins of the ordered probability for the fourth quartile. Again, you see that there are many more variables are explaining the probability of falling in the fourth quartile for the money index, while the only one that are significant are mainly the personality traits for the green quartile, but we will go into this more specific here. So what we can say that for the money index, family is important. We have an index that we call that represents the social-cultural status, and it's a mix between the level of education and the number of books in the house. And the variable CIC is increasing the probability of falling into money index by 3%. The quality of school in the region also matters, as well as the type of school. So, but what really matters more is curiosity, scrupulosity, confidence are the variables that have a higher effect on falling on the top performance, both for the money awareness and the environmental awareness. There is also an important role of cross awareness, as I said, and this is also the reason for which we have a by-product approach. These are the margins of the by-varied product approach, and here too we have more or less the same result. You have the result that age as a role, as well as the character traits that I also mentioned before: curiosity, scrupulosity, confidence in others, sociality, are all important in order to increase the probability to be a top performer in terms of money and environmental awareness. So we also tried this because of the cross awareness that was important. Conclusion, because I have a few time, I mean, left very little time. Okay, as I said, what we found is that there is a connection. With respect to the first question we asked at the very beginning, there is a connection between sensitivity, I mean, or whatever, on environmental and economic sustainability. The variables that explain this kind of awareness are different. The contextual variables are more important for the money awareness than for the green awareness. There may be a reason for that. If you want, we can discuss. What I will say is that there is also, because I didn't point out because of the lack of time, there is an important role of parents. Parents have an important role, especially on the money index, much more than on the green index, and this makes sense. Parents are the ATM, the ATM machine for kids, so they look at their parents whenever they need to know how to manage their money, while for environmental issue they have the external environment, the social environment, the Fridays for Future, the school, they have other source of information. For money, parents are still very, very important. And finally, the policy implication. I think that, for sure there is a spillover, and we can exploit this spillover, we can gain effectiveness, because for sure I'm interested in financial education, but I would say that financial education can be a terrific tool for education also in terms of sustainability and environmental sustainability. In a 36-degree vision of the UN 2030. So if we improve financial education in school or at home, because I agree with Christophe, we need to teach the parents as well. We need to involve the parents in this kind of effort, because otherwise, as we see, we cannot do anything. The school are not enough. School are not enough to solve the problem. But with financial education, we can get two things. Awareness on how to use money, and a higher awareness on how to use natural scarce resources.